Greetings, everyone. It's alumni from everywhere, so I cannot say good morning here. And so this is after a very long time, after 6 batches, we finally are having our AlmaConnect's first inaugural session today. And I feel really happy to see different faces from different backgrounds and different countries all together, just to see the outreach of where our alumni committee has gone. Of course, this work that we have seen right now is not just the one that has been done in the last week. The efforts have been continuing and been putting forward for almost 2 years, where AlmaConnect was formed in 2021, with initiation taken from Dr. Karthik Seshadri and Kiran Tripathi sir. So with that, we'll just begin with the session talk with dignitaries to just introduce the committee and to proceed with the honorings. With that, I would like to invite Dr. Karthik Seshadri sir to say a few words.
Hello, Ritvik. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. A warm hello to the Associate Dean Alumni Affairs, Dr. Santosh, and Ms. Prabhavati, the Placement Executive, and all the alumni who have gathered here on this Saturday, and all my dear students who have joined us online. I welcome you all to this first session of this Career Insights series. I thank our alumni for spending their time to help out their junior students despite their busy schedules. And I request all of our students to make the most out of this Career Insights series and to shape their future. I also thank the AD Alumni Affairs Placement Executive Ms. Prabhavati and Ritvik for arranging this series and wish you all a great success in your endeavors. Thank you, Ritvik. Over to you.
Thank you, sir, for a motivational speech from your side. And it really feels happy to see that the roots of NIT has gone to all 7 continents, if I may. Maybe Antarctica not be not counted in this. We would also like to thank Dr. Prabhavati ma'am for actually initiating this particular meet and to start off with our inaugural session. With that, let's continue ahead for the session. So the session today is called Career Insight Series, and it looks into different career aspects that is possible for us, and especially for the people who are in 4th years would be the highly beneficial crowd here. And it's we have experts from all different fields. Think about education or corporate. There are people who have done everything that you can possibly think of. So with that, we'll just begin with education, as that is one of the most hot topics right now. And we'll proceed with the timeline as the examinations and the deadlines that we have. One of the most common applications that people do apply for is currently Indian education systems, either be it through GATE or through CAT. And since we have CAT examination on 26th of November itself, which is coming quite fast, we also have an expert who has qualified the CAT exam and got into IIM Indore. So let's welcome Aditya Virkar. Hi, Aditya.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes. So, Aditya, we just want to know a little more about how your journey was from college, how your preparations, what was your preparation strategy? What had you up at night preparing or thinking about managerial aspects, and how would it benefit for a student to pursue the path that you did?
So, right in my first year, I knew that I don't want a career in engineering because of all the math that was involved. I am petrified of math. And in my fourth year, this is when my CAT preparation actually began. In the month of April, right, like about 6 months before the CAT exam in November. So the CAT, how to deal with the CAT exam could be divided into like 2 parts. One of them would be the actual written exam that happens, and once you clear that, you have one more hurdle in your way, that is the personal interviews, which is very strenuous, very stressful, and a lot. You need to know a lot of general knowledge. You need to know what's happening around you, current affairs, and all of that. So in the CAT exam, you have the ILR, quant, and verbal ability (VARC). and all of these sections have their very own intricacies and their very own difficult layers that are there. So for VRC, one of the most for engineers, basically one of the most difficult sections is the VRC, or the verbal ability, wherein I would definitely recommend to at least solve like 5 passages every day, so as to you can go ahead and be at the mark, and not let the verbal ability affect your scores, because engineers usually tend to do well in the other two sections, and VRC is what tracks them down. Coming to the interview part, once you have cleared CAD, for interviews, what you need is a lot of points to speak. I'd ask you all to join as many clubs as you can, to join, to network amongst your peers, to actually, do work or put in some efforts. Like during my interview time, I remember I was the secretary of Literary and Debate Club, and it was one of the clubs to hold an independent festival of itself, and it became my talking points. We had impressions of about 24,000 people, and it is a huge number when it comes down to organic reach, and this is what you can boast of in an interview. This is what makes people on the other side of your camera or on the other side of the table listen to you. And that's it. Just like to say that be a part of everything, because going into an IIM or going into any management institute, people will definitely see what you have done for your educational background, but they'll also see what you do otherwise.
That is actually a great insight about and the various ways of that needs to be taken into account. It's not just CAT; it's your interpersonal skills that gets you in for IIMs, and this is it was best put in the way that you have done right now, and I cannot think of any other way that you can put it in a more robust and in a concise manner. So with that, like for people out there, Aditya is actually a 2022 batch pass out from chemical engineering, and is right now in IIM. So you can contact him on LinkedIn. So following that, now we would be looking at a different aspect of taking masters in India, which many of us have already taken it once, and some of us are actually trying to take it ahead, which is through GATE. GATE is one of the most competitive exams out there, and there is one person, Vishnu, who is a 23 CSE batch pass out, who have got into Triple IT Hyderabad, probably one of the most reputed institutes when it comes to CSE in India. So, Vishnu, if you would you'd like to share a few words about how your journey was and what made you inspire to work into this progress, and what is a motivating factor for students to pursue this career.
Hello everyone, I am Vishnu Vardhan, currently pursuing MTech CSE in Triplet Hyderabad. Initially, I completed BTech from NIT AP in CSE in 2023 only. And in my last semester of BTech, I have completed 6 months internship, after which I have joined Triplet Hyderabad for my MTech. Initially, I took GATE in my third year of my BTech, that is 2022, and got a decent score due to which I got an inspiration to move forward towards GATE and pursuing an master's in India. And I took another attempt in 23, and in which I improved my score. But in meanwhile, due to job opportunities and job offers that I have got in uh, campus interviews, I was in a dilemma to whether go to the higher studies or taking a job. But after getting an admission letter from Triple IT, I have decided to join Triple IT Hyderabad for my impact due to its research background and no reservation policy. Considering all this, I have joined Triple IT Hyderabad for my impact.
Okay, that is actually a very inspiring part, because that is where most people actually get stuck in whether to select for corporate or to go for higher studies. And so, what do you think would be the motivational aspect for students? Like, what is the benefit of going for MTech in Triple IT Hyderabad, and what exposure does it benefit for students?
I would say that being a postgraduate student, we can get a better exposure towards diverse backgrounds, and experienced people will be there from different industries, and where we can get a decent amount of knowledge. And also, with respect to the college Tribulate Hyderabad, it is known for its research, academic, and coding culture, where we can spend 2 years of quality time with peers and even the best minds in the industry, where there are some PhD students directly from the industry who are having some 7 to 8 years experience. And I think I would be getting some better opportunities in the future due to its alumni network also. So these are the things that I would think that we would be getting from the MTech.
The point about alumni network is exactly true. Most of the cases that we see in other institutes which are getting 1 to 2 crore packages, especially in India, which is like a huge topic of trend everywhere, it's only because of alumni connections who have been exploring and expanding their realm in such a way that the university reputation is increasing forward. So huge round of applause for everyone present here for actually making our institute stand out in the places that you are in. Okay, with that, now that we have completed the career paths that are available in India with a very good insight of both the managerial and the research oriented aspects, we'll proceed with MS in other countries. And the one country that comes out for everyone as a de facto is US. And many people generally think about getting a computer science degree in US or MSc degree in US. But what people forget is there are other options as well, right? So the one thing, we do have a great alumni from again Chemical 2022. I think Chemical is quite a very active batch. There are a lot of people from Chemical here. So from Chemical 2022, Rahul Nandkumar, who is currently in UT Austin. So the floor is up to you, Rahul, for again the same concepts of what motivated you to go there, how can the student pursue your career, and what would be the benefits of this?
Uh, can you hear me clearly? Am
Yes,
I
Rahul.
audible?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, thank you for the quick intro. It was great to hear that. Chemical engineering is really a good batch, I would say. So yeah, so my name is Rahul, and currently I am pursuing my master's in operations research and industrial engineering at the University of Texas at Austin. So a quick question that might come up is why the change from chemical engineering to operations research and industrial engineering. So when I was studying engineering, I was always impressed by the mathematical aspects of their processes and optimization and all these kinds of stuff. It's very stark in contrast to what Aditya said. He didn't like math, so he wanted to pursue managerial roles. For me, I really liked the math aspect of it, so I wanted to pursue operations research. So what we do in operations research is basically take a process and try to optimize it or come up with new insights that can better develop the process. And that's what really inspired me, and that's why I pursued this course as well. So when you come to a master's in abroad, I'm sure that this applies to other countries as well. So the universities they look at your profile as a whole. So it is not only about your grades or your marks that matter or your test scores that matter. It's your entire performance throughout your undergraduate. So be it leadership experiences, voluntary experiences, internships. So all these come together and it builds your profile. And that's what the ad committees look at. So for me, I started my process in around June or July of 2020. I would advise, yeah, this is another thing that the entire master's journey is not something that you can do in maybe a couple of months or something. So you have to start very early. Like I would say, at least a year before you want to get, like let's say you want to get into the fall intake the next year, you have to start 1 year early. And so what I did was I did a bunch of projects, I did a bunch of internships that would boost my profile, and then I took my exams in September. So I took two exams, that is the GRE and the TOEFL. So right now, I think most of the US universities are not, they don't want you to take GRE specifically, but if you want, you can take it. And so GRE is basically going to test your quantitative abilities, and TOEFL is going to check how well you speak English or so. And after that, I would just shortlist the universities based on their coursework and based on the professors' work. So the another main thing when you come to the US is you can choose two different career paths. Like let's say you want to do academic research, or let's say you want to focus on your professional career where you want to go to the industry and work. So you have to look at the universities and try to choose what best suits your interests. And so I did the shortlisting of the universities and basically finished up all my applications by December. And I got the results back. I heard back from a lot of universities, some, of course, some positive, some negative. It always happens. I heard back in around March or April, and I came to the US in August. So my advice for people looking to, get into a master's in the US would be to start very early, like start maybe in March or April. Just start very early. So that would take a lot of pressure and burden off you. And as I said, try to get into a lot of clubs and in the campus, and try to engage with a lot of people. And that, if you add it to your resume or if you add it to your application, that would boost your profile a lot. And for getting admits into top universities, you need to have a very good statement of purpose. A statement of purpose is something that you need to write. It's like an essay that would like it will explain what you want to do in your career and what you will gain by doing this course. And that's what the admissions committee look for. And apply very early. Like don't keep your applications till the last date. Like apply as early as possible. And there are some early admits as well. Like you can take a look at the university websites for these deadlines. So yeah, that's pretty much it. After you apply, it's just wait and you will get your good results. So yeah, that's pretty much my experience so far.
Thank you, Rahul, for such a wonderful insight. There have been many questions about when to apply and other things, the questions which I'm about to follow up, and you've already answered them without even the questions being asked. So that is amazing.
Sure. Yeah.
So with that, like now many people still would be looking for applying for masters in computer science or proceeding that career. And we do have the first batch of NIT Andhra, which have passed out from CSE itself. Cara Evangeline, who finished her masters in Queen's Mary, London, and is currently working in VCA. So, Cara, the floor is to you as to what, there are various things to be discussed about at the same points as others follows. What made you inspired to pursue this career? And especially when people are looking for US, what made you choose UK over a US? And so, yeah, everything about your experience and what the students can do to benefit this.
Yeah, sure. So hi everyone. Thank you for having me here. As Ritwik mentioned, I'm from the first batch of computer science at NIT AP. So NIT AP is very close to my heart, as I already mentioned to Ritwik. So like after 4 years, I think I'm connecting back with our college. So these 4 years has been an incredible journey, and life at NIT AP has been amazing overall. And after I finished, so it's like, I have to specify about 4 years of my career. Like after I completed my bachelor's in 2019 May, I moved on to London to pursue my master's in data science at Queen Mary University. And after completing my master's, currently I'm working as a data scientist with one video analytics company. So to start with, like how this transition started from bachelor's to master's, like Rahul mentioned, like he preferred the US, but whereas I came here to the UK because of one or two constraints. One is, yeah, of course, the financial aspects of it. In the UK, it's much cheaper than the US, so that's one of the aspects for me to come here. And the second one is like you have courses which you can choose for 1 year, so you don't have to do it for 2 long years or 2.5 years. So that was another reason for which I chose UK over US. And and I think the third thing that I would like to specify is settling here in the UK is, I think, comparatively easier. If you wanted to get a PR and citizenship, it's much easier here because once you get your work visa approved for 5 long years, if you can be here in the UK, then in the fifth or the sixth year, you can apply for your British citizenship. It's quite easier. The process is quite easier. So yeah, to start with how I started the application process, in May 2019, I completed my bachelor's, and I think I started my process very late, like only in the beginning of Jan 2019, I started applying for universities in the UK. And I was actually double minded to choose between two different career paths. One is to attend for the campus placement, and the other one is to choose between the masters. My parents, of course, most of our Indian parents, I don't think they won't let you go abroad, most of us. But likewise, even my parents were in that category. So I was double minded totally to choose between the two. But yeah, of course, I was preparing for campus placement at the same time. I was applying for universities in the UK right from Jan beginning. And I think I was getting conditional offers right from February midweek and March midweek. And one or two qualifications to get into the UK. So it's quite easier to get here. It's not like too much difficult. If you have a good CGPA, it's good. It's a good point because you can get scholarships quite easily. And the other one is the IELTS exam. So to crack IELTS, it's not too much of a headache. I just did preparations for like about 10 days, and I was able to do that. It was not too hard, it was comparatively easier. So I was able to crack it up. And meanwhile, I also got into one of the campus placement. But later, after moving back home from our college, I finally decided to pursue my career in masters in data science. So I came here to London in September 2019, and I chose the data science career path because it's like more of an hot topic, and you get opportunities very easily. And here in masters, it was a very big transition from bachelor's to masters. We had college only twice a week in a day. So it was all, I was able to inhale and exhale things, and I was able to take things very peacefully with a calm and composed mind. And the syllabus was not hectic at all. Some of the basics of machine learning I had already learned in my bachelor's, of course. But here, it was more hands-on learning. It was kind of, chilled experience. So that gave me more confidence and the ability to do well. So after completing my masters, I did 1 year internship with a startup company. So it was kind of hard journey. It was not too easy to go through those days because we never had any kind of training during that point of time. I was asked to do tasks right from day one. So it was kind of intimidating to keep doing things on my own. But during the course of my career, I learned how to adopt myself and do things on my own rather than just depending on someone. So after that, now I'm into a full-time position. uh yeah, so that's pretty much about me.
Wow, Kara, like the journey itself in 4 years, there's a lot of been ups and downs and transitions, and it's really great to hear your experience. Although there is one general question that when it comes to people, especially after hearing to Rahul and you, now that colleges are giving less weightage to GRE, I think a little more of weightage already falls on your statement of purposes and maybe other documents. But when it comes to examinations that are to be taken, English test is something which we still do commonly face. And so there are two options right now, IELTS and TOEFL. So
Mhm.
each one of you, like, would you just tell me like which one would be better for us to pursue with, and or which one would we suggest to be taken?
Okay, so to come here to the UK, some of the universities ask for your IELTS score. I don't think TOEFL is common here because I haven't heard people come here through TOEFL. It's mostly through IELTS. And there are even some other universities who don't ask you for anything. If you just provide your GPAs and other documents like SOP, statement of purpose, it's pretty much easier to get into universities in the UK, to be very honest. But if you wanted to get into top universities like Oxford and Imperial College London, maybe the procedure is a little more different. I think you might have to give some interviews. I'm not sure about it. I study in Queen Mary University. The reason I chose this university is mainly because it was one of the top 10 or top 15 in the UK, and also it belonged to one of the most prominent groups here in the UK, like Russell Group universities. And to get here, my CGPA, like I think I got like 8.68 CGPA in my entire bachelor's, and because of that, I was able to get some scholarship here in London. And the other reason why I chose Queen Mary is mainly because of the internship here. So like it was 1 year course, and the second year was internship, so it gave me 1 year extra visa. So that's pretty much it. But otherwise, if you want to come here to the UK, to be very, very honest, it's not difficult at all. If you have the heart and, if you have supporting people, you can just come and do. Yeah.
That's a great insight, Karen. So Rahul, what would be your take in terms of taking these exams, IELTS or TOEFL?
So for me, since I was only targeting the US universities, I took the TOEFL, mainly because the US universities generally they take in TOEFL, but they also take in IELTS scores as well. So if you're my advice would be that if you're targeting universities in like multiple countries, then take IELTS. But if you're targeting only for the US, then take TOEFL because that's gonna be more. I guess I could say it's better in terms of US universities. So yeah, and the second thing is that I don't know if this is something on a different scale, but Kara said that in the UK it's like pretty easy to get into universities, whereas it's like the complete opposite in for the US because the admissions are like really competitive here. There are a lot of people who are well qualified, but they don't get into universities. I'm saying about top universities because you can get into any decent university, but to get into top universities, it's really competitive, and that's the reason why you need to build your profile. And the ways that I told you to build your profile by engaging in leadership activities, internships, and projects, and that's how you build your profile and get into these top universities. So yeah, that would be.
That's actually great, Rahul. I think like generally overall, like the higher the university ranking is, the more difficult it becomes for anyone to get in because of the demand and applications for that. So the last question that generally ponders around is what would be a good CGPA range? Like 8 above, 7.5 above, 8.5 above, because it varies for every single college. Like there are multiple alumni who generally say that CGPA is not the only criteria that you take into account, but like Kara said, CGPA does matter if you're, especially that the weightage for GRE and other exams are reducing, so they give more weightage to your CGPA and your statements. So what would be a good score for CGPA to begin?
Oh yeah. So in general, to get here into the UK, I'm just being more specific towards UK. So if you wanted scholarship, then it would be good if you can have something about like 8.4, 8.5 above. But if not, like even if you have like 7.5, of course you would have to have a good CGPA. Otherwise, like some of the top universities doesn't accept you. Like you can get into any of the ones that you wanted here, but then if you wanted to get on the top ones, of course, you should have something about like 7.5 or 8 in that range. And if you wanted to get good scholarship, then something about 8.5, because that's what they consider as distinction here, I believe, here in the UK. So yeah.
Similarly for the US as well, I would say 8.5 is a good ballpark GPA, but there are some universities that would definitely reject you if you have anything less than 9. I was personally rejected from 3 universities because my GPA was less than 9. So that is also something. But these are like top universities I'm talking about. They are ranked like 1, 2, 3 in the world. So these are like very top universities, and it's really hard to get into them. But anything above 8.5 should be good. Even if you have it above 8, you should be good. You will get into some universities because, again, they look at the entire profile and what you have done and how you have built your profile and all your work experience and all that. So, should be good. Yeah.
Thank you, Rahul, for your insight, and thank you, Kara, for this, for your insights as well. Now, Kara and Rahul have been people who have gone directly for masters, and now Kara has pursued a little further towards job in London. But now we have one person, one alumni of ours, 2022 ECA pass out, Kaushik, who first worked for a year, had work experience of 1 year in optics, and then forwarded that to now pursuing computer science masters in Arizona State University. So, hi, Kaushik.
Hi, Ritvik. Am I audible?
Yes, Kaushik, you
Yeah.
are audible. So the same question as I'm asking for, I'm just asking for everyone. What is the one that motivated you? What benefits do you have? Like if a student is trying to pursue your path, because this goes into corporate and then into education, right? So this is quite a unique path if you're thinking about the overall aspect of it. So if you could just share your experience and what benefits do students have from this?
Yeah, so I'm an EC graduate, and being an EC graduate is really tough because you have to choose between core and you have another option in IT too. So I decided in the initial days of my undergraduate that there exists a difference between commitment and interest. So I was committed to the degree that I was pursuing, and I was more interested in IT field. So from the initial days of my career, I balanced in between both IT and core. And when given an option to choose my career, so I chose the software industry, of course. So uh, up to third year, I did not had any plan to pursue my masters. But once I started preparing for my placements, I kind of got into understand that the knowledge gap that I've been having. And also I thought, since I'm an EC undergraduate, I felt that having an experience in any company would give me an edge in the application process, because they might also consider work experience. uh, so that is the reason that I worked for an year, and then I pursued my master's in, I chose to pursue my master's in US. And so there were many questions regarding GPA. So I do understand that GPA is a very important process and important criteria in your application process, but that is not the main criteria. So there is a friend of mine who got into Arizona State University and computer science MS. He had a CGPA of 7.8, something like that. Yeah. So having a decent GPA is good. That decent GPA is subjective to the university. So try to maintain above 7.5, 7, something like that. But if you do have 7, above 7 or 7.5, make sure that you have relevant work experience, internship, and undergraduate projects, research paper that will aid you to be the topmost applicant in the application process. Also, so the CGPA. So for the people who are having high CGPA, so they will get more scholarships. I'm basically here on scholarship, and I would not say that like my CGPA helped me to get a scholarship, but application process considered my whole profile, LORs, SOPs. And I did mention that I'd be honored that if I get a financial aid from the university. So I mentioned that in the application, my statement of purpose, and even in the LOS I requested faculty to mention that, so that I would get it. And they saw my overall profile, and I got a scholarship. And many people would not consider doing their undergraduate project properly. They will take lightly. So there was a point where I got I applied to some university, and a professor from that university saw my profile and offered me research position along with a scholarship. He kind of kept a small interview. So I did my undergraduate project in the field of digital signal processing using AI and ML technologies. So that professor was also doing the same research in that domain. So he kept an interview and asked me whether I could assist him in the research thing that he was doing. There was an interview, and he said he was impressed with my profile, and then offered me the role along with a scholarship. But I had to turn down that offer because he told me to pursue directly PhD, not masters. So that was not in my plan to pursue PhD. So because I'm from ECE, I would want to fill the knowledge gap that I had being an ECE undergraduate and CS undergraduate. So I want to fill up that. So I thought MS would be a better option. And yeah, that is the reason I chose MS in CS. Also, to all the students who are planning to apply to US universities, I would suggest them to apply the sooner, because there is two kinds of deadlines, the priority deadline and the normal deadline. So if you are, I mean, if you have applied before the priority deadline, then you would be eligible to the scholarships. So so for example, if you're planning for fall, try to complete the application process before December, I say. So then you'll be eligible for priority sorry admissions, early admissions, scholarship, and there are much more things. And you could have access to their portal, you could apply part-time jobs, you could connect with alumni. So the better, the sooner the better. And during the work experience, make sure that you try to fill the knowledge gap and you are having, if you are from EC to CS, and for CS that work experience would definitely be an added advantage. And yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Thanks, Kaushik. Like you covered every single aspect that anyone would have ever thought of, and so
Thank you.
thank
Sorry
thank
for
you.
the bad lighting though. It's almost night here, so midnight. Yeah, yeah.
Which is why, like initially, I was just like a splur at the moment. I was about to say good morning, then I remembered, oh yeah, there are people from other places, and that would not be an appropriate one to start off. So, thank you, Kaushik, for your insights. For people who don't know this, Kaushik is actually a gold medalist from EC department. So, yeah, CGPA wise, I think he got it all to the top range there. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So just one single doubt, like if you're thinking about students that have, because right now there are some students in fourth year who are still trying to recover the CGPA but are falling under the limit, right? For people who have CGPAs like below 7.5 and who are still trying to pursue these things. This question is for Kara, Rahul, and Kaushik together. If the CGPA is falling below 7.5, obviously like work experience may help, like Kaushik suggested. Like, are there any other methods other than work experiences that may help them?
Yeah, as I said, a strong research. I mean, if you have any publications related to IEEE or something like that, then you have advantage. And if you have strong LOS, SOPs, another advantage. And like overall good profile like GRE, IELTS, and GPA. Like not very under, like not less than 6.5. So I mean, it would be better if you have some decent CGPA. That would be subjective to the university. And if you really want to get into computer science, then you would want to apply to some middle ranked universities so that you will get in. And there are other specific core areas also, like you could pursue data science, data analytics, all this stuff. So you could also apply to another branches if you feel that your GPA is not enough to get into that universities. So you could always visit their website to see if you want to, if you are allowed, like if you want to meet some priority requirements or something like that, and then choose the best that suits you.
Thanks, Kaushik. So Rahul and Kara, like any other tips from your side?
Yeah, so as Kaushik said, having a good research profile is actually beneficial because let's say there's a professor working on some research, and these professors, they're always looking for new students, and they want to expand their research because that would help them in the future. So they're always looking for new students who are very enthusiastic about research. So if you have a good research profile, like that was the thing in my case. I had a good research profile. I had done a few research internships, and I had a conference paper that was published. So even though I had a low GPA, my research profile kind of balanced it out. So, and there was another question in the chat box saying that if I have skills, is that good? So yes, having good skills, in having established skills. I mean to say that not just listing out the skills on your resume. You need to establish it. Like say, I built a website, or I maintain this database or something like that. So having that kind of experience is also really matter. So yeah.
Thank you, Rahul.
Certifications, if
So
I may add to that point, skills in terms of certifications. So there are some good certifications like AWS, and there are you can get some professional certifications. So it would be better if you have that. not just listing them down. Yeah, I would agree with Rahul on this point.
Yes, like having a proof of concept, like that you have done something to share.
Yes.
Kara, anything else to add other than these?
Yeah, sure. So once again, the transition from bachelor's to master's, it was not a very big difficult journey for me. But transition from master's to like working in my current employment was a big transition because getting a job here in the UK is not a very easy process because the first thing is yeah, sorry, I think there's a lag. Yeah, which is fine. Okay, so you have to get your CV in a proper state. To have your CV in a proper state, you should not, as Rahul and Kaushik mentioned, you should not just have different kind of skill sets. You must be able to demonstrate them with examples. Examples in the sense for I'm being more specific to CS students, like having different portfolios, GitHub profiles, and then LinkedIn, of course, and networking. The other thing that I would like to stress on is networking. So you have to if you wanted to come here to the UK or to the US, or if you wanted to pursue career and different prospects, you have to connect to different people, ask them, reach out, and try to have different kind of connections so that at some point of time one or the other person would be helpful. That's how over the course of my career from masters I got one of my internship where I did with one of the startup company, and from startup I went on to doing the full time that I'm doing right now. So here getting a sponsorship visa is very difficult. Like getting your employer to sponsor a work visa is very difficult. Initially, when I started 2 years before in my current position, I was not offered sponsorship. I took my own post study work visa for 2 years, and my 2 years post study work visa is going to end in the November 2023. And thankfully, by the grace of God, right now I have my work visa approved, so I can work here in the UK for the next couple of years. But until you get to that stage, it's very tricky process. If you wanted to get till that stage, you have to build your profile in the sense, as I mentioned, you have to have a portfolio. Like if you wanted to pursue a career in machine learning or computer science or electrical or chemical engineering, try to do a research about that area or a field of your interest, pick out journal papers and read more about it. Like 4 5 years before, if I think about where I was, the very first research paper that I read, not everything made sense to me. But over years, gradually, I'm in a position where I feel more confident and comfortable. So you have to start doing things right from the beginning so that you'll have that strong grip over it. So I would suggest that. And hackathons. Sorry, I'm being more specific to CS students once again. Hackathons. I I didn't do a lot of hackathons in my bachelor's, but I have heard from people say that it will boost up your confidence and coding abilities. So yeah, those are just one or two advices. Yeah.
Thank you, Kara, for your insights. And thank you, Kara, Rahul, Kaushik, Aditya, and Vishnu for all your insights on education. So now that we are edging towards the end of the education realm, so let us step into the other career aspect which people look into, that is corporate. And for corporate, there's no other person here who has more experience in knowing about companies than our AD dean for TNP, which is Kartikeya Sharma sir. So, sir, if you could give us a small insight on, or if you just give us some tips regarding, how to traverse through this rough patch right now and how to go for the corporate world, it would be extremely helpful.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. First of all, I'm very happy to see all the faces, Kara, Kaushik, Aditya Bharadwaj, and many people. So I used to see these all faces during the placement drives, very tense faces. Now, very happy to see all these guys with a charming face now. I'm very happy to see all these guys. Uh, First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for conducting a beautiful session, Prabhavati ma'am and you guys. This type of sessions are highly required. We are also means we I think you students might have already gone through this type of sessions, particular to a company, right? Whenever there is a company is coming, we used to conduct this type of sessions with the seniors who got already selected in the company previously. But this is a kind of overall kind of education and career oriented kind of a session. This is a mixture of both, that is very good. One thing I would like to say is, first of all, thank you very much for you guys to attend this particular session and giving your time for your juniors. So, in the family of NIT AP, you are now big brothers and sisters. Now you are taking care of your juniors, that is your elder brothers and younger brothers and younger sisters. So that is very happy, and this type of sessions to be conducted more and more, and you have to guide your juniors so that NITAP will prosper in this in India among the other NITs and IITs. So I thank you very much. And as many said, it is very important to maintain a GPA. That is very good. At the same time, though you have less GPA, no need to worry. As I said, always we have to think about from the other side of the table. I used to say the same with the students. You have to think the other side of the table, what they look whenever they are processing your application, whenever they are interviewing you. This is what you have to think, and you have to prepare properly. Planning is very important. So suppose you have some lesser CGPA 7.58, no need to worry. You can even land into a very good university in abroad. So but what you have to do is you have to build your profile in the other aspect, as said by the previous speakers. Like you have to improve your research profile, you have to publish your research in one or two journals. So for everything there will be points. Each and every aspect will consider some points. So only GPA will get you some points, but if you improve, if you cover up with the other aspects in your profile, so definitely, as Kaushik said, so even though if you are having 7.5 and above CGPA, little above CGPA also, you can land into a very good university. So I always suggest the students to look into other aspects. Overall development is required, not only that CGPA kind of a thing. So you have to be good at participating in the clubs and all these things. And apart from participating, you are supposed to be an organizer of events. So organizing will make you learn many leadership qualities, how to deal with the people, different sets of mindset of people will be there, how to deal with them. So all the life skills will be taught in this college itself. So only thing is you have to participate and you have to organize. So this is very important. So if you develop your profile in all the dimensions, no need to worry about your CGPA, whatever may be your CGPA, even though if it is 7 or less or even little more. So you can land into a very good university. That is for sure. So yes, but at the same time, no need to neglect the CGPA. Maintain a very good CGPA to the possible extent. That is, I suggest, so that it helps to help you to get the scholarship and all. That is one aspect. And when it comes to the placements and all, so technical skills are the major thing that most of the students usually they will do one day batting in our terminology, right? Just before the exam we do one day batting, and we'll prepare for the exam, we'll, get something into brain, and again we will vomit on the answer sheet, and we'll get some CGPA and all. So this, as an engineer, I feel this kind of a thing is not at all suitable, because engineer itself is a person who applies his knowledge, right? So just mugging up something or putting something into brain forcibly and just exhausting it during the exams is not just okay. So we have to apply. Our work will be always application oriented, right? So just understand, observe into your brain what you are learning, so that definitely helps you during your placements. That is what I say. Most of the time, what the feedback that I get from the HRs. So even now on my way to Vijayawada to meet JetScaler HRs who are staying in Vijayawada hotel. So just to meet them and to interact with them and invite them. So that is why, so it got delayed to join this particular session. I'm sorry for that. But only thing is, so you should be technically strong. Whenever a company is approaching NIT, means they will have some expectation, because the students who cracked JEE are entering into NIT, so they'll have some expectations. But are we reaching to that expectations or not is the major thing. So technically we have to be very strong and understand the concept from the heart, by the heart, and get into the brain, and then think about it how to apply it. If it is there, so nobody can stop you, whether it can be an MS education, or even it is a job. So soft skills and all, nowadays we are all in the digital world, and every day we are using all the English language or whatever, English and all, right? So there is no problem. It means I heard a very a little negative feedback about the soft skills, but 98-99% only the HRs complain about the technical skills only. So this is the only thing that limiting our highest packages and average packages for the last 5 years. This is what I felt right from the beginning. I am the TPO, and so I came through the entire scenario. And nowadays, because of the Ukraine war and all, they're also affecting the placements. Last year placements, we got a little reduction in the last year placements, and still that placement season is going on. But the toughness of the process is increased to a greater extent, and the vacancy numbers got reduced to a greater extent. So under these situations, if until unless you are very thorough about your subjects, so it is very difficult to get into a job. And unfortunately, some of the last year batch students, they already joined the company, and even they got fired also. So that type of situation exists outside. So if you are looking for a job, it is better you focus more on the technical aspects first. It will be helpful even if you are looking for an MSA also. So technical, that is what the only single thing single word I'll say. And I always ask you, the students, to chant a single mantra. Being an engineer, the thing only, that mantra is why. This simple three letter mantra, why. So don't take the statements. Many times I observe that students will simply take the statements whatever they are written in the textbook or PPTs are given by the faculty. They won't ask the question why. So every time you have to ask the question why. If you keep on chanting this mantra why, so, and get the answers for everything, so definitely your technical skills will be increased to a greater extent. So that why questions will end with knowledge, right? So always chant this mantra why, simple three letter word, every time, every day, in every class, every hour in your engineering or MS. So definitely nobody can beat you in your career or job or MS or anything. So being an engineer, we should always be thirsty about the knowledge and knowing the things. So if you just understand a simple thing, so your life will be very beautiful. So thank you for giving me this time. So happy to see you all, my kids like people. So happy again. Thank you very much. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for being here. Yeah.
Thank you, sir, for such a talk. Like it really is inspiring and knowing your aspect and your side of things. So with that, we'll be proceeding towards the corporate realm and corporate areas. And generally, when we're looking at corporate, people only focus more on CSE or IT placements and think that is the only way to proceed, which most of us are having a mindset of, where there are some people who think otherwise, who think, why not proceed in the same department that we have taken? And one such motivational factor for all of us is, again, a 2019 pass out from MME, Aditya Bharadwaj, who is currently working at PNG as a product manager. So, hello, hi, Aditya.
Hello everyone, namaste, hi. So, Aditya Bharadwaj, 2019 pass out, MME department, yes. So, I'll just tell you my story a little bit past. So I got campus placement, which was very surprising for me. I didn't expect it, thanks to all the TNP people. So since I was not expecting I started preparing for GATE exam. We talked about it previously. Got a good rank in GATE, but then COVID happened. So for 2 years there was no selection on the GATE criteria, like in any PSU, public sector unit. So I got campus placement. I got in Vedanta. I started working there as a process engineer. 2.5 years I worked there in their lead and silver business in Rajasthan as a process engineer. In November 21, I got selected in SAIL, Steel Authority of India Limited. It's a Maharatna PSU based out of Bokaro, Jharkhand. So I worked there 1 year as an assistant manager. didn't like the job quite well. So again, I applied for Procter and Gamble Product Supply Manager. Got into PNG, and it has been like now 11 months. I have been working there in the dry laundry department. Dry laundry as such in the Ariel and the Tide powder, which I assume that you guys are using. So we make it here in Chandigarh area, and I am currently responsible for its making. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, that's it from my side. That's my history. My approach for you, like my target audience here will be the people who don't have means to go for all these higher educations, because they do cost you a lot of money. And so I am coming from a background where I didn't have any means, and I on top of that I had to support my family also meanwhile. So I am the only source of income in my family for past 5 years. So whatever decisions uh, was made was in the background that was the question, like, okay, I'm doing that, then what? It doesn't, it not only just affects me, it affects 4 other people in my family. So for people who are in the similar situation, who cannot go for say MBA or masters or everything, it is not extremely like outright required also. I am currently working for with people who have done masters and MBA from like the highest reputed colleges in India: ISB, IMA, IMB, and IIT Bombay and everything. So yeah, it works. You don't have to go on and do other courses only. Long before my one of my cousin brother used to work for Microsoft when I was in college. I asked him like how many degrees you have, and he told BTech काफी है और कुछ करने का जरूरत नहीं है. So yeah, he was correct only. And then it all boils down to what you have done in college. For me, it was all just cascading. I had done a variety of things in college. I don't know if you are continuing all those traditions now, but maybe Kara will know like how many clubs we were hosting and how many events we were organizing. So yeah, that helps. You just have to keep building slowly, and then yeah, you can do it for cheap. You can do it effectively also. That's all.
Thank you, Aditya, for actually giving a very ground truth reality of many of the Indian graduates here in the country. Not everyone has the means or the ability to pursue higher education, like you said, and this actually opens their mind and frees up some of the tension that they're feeling. Okay, I may be lacking a bit, because what you said is true. At the end of the day, everyone works together at the same corporate office, and we need people of different skill set and different mindset, and that really highlights the point. And with that, like, we'll be continuing forward for the session. We'll be going towards the IT hiring, and especially for people who got jobs in IT, and looking at the perspective from a very close up, as this is just our immediate senior batches of CSE 2023 pass out. Lalit Aditya, who got into Gameberry, and Raja Karthik, who got into Big Basket. Hi, Lalit.
Hi, Ritvik. Yeah, am I
Yeah.
audible loud and clear?
Yes, Lalit. Lalit Aditya and Raja Karthik are more of a personal contact to me, because these two are the ones who immediately guided me in my process. And to wherever position that I am standing right now, or wherever I may get into the future, definitely their role will be there in it. So thank you for spending some time and guiding me personally as well. And I had to include you in this session, as your guidance is really valuable for all of us.
Oh.
And so, Lalit, again, do the same question that I would be asking for Aditya Bharadwaj as well. How did you end up choosing the company that you did right now, and how was the? I mean, one extra question for you would be, how was the hiring process? Because Sharma sir was mentioning about a little bit of a difficulty, especially for your hiring batches, for
Okay.
your batch for hiring, and everything regarding that, and how your path would benefit students.
Um, Especially when you want to work as a software engineer or a product manager, obviously the first choice you need to make is what type of company you want to be in, right? And obviously, personally, you can never, what do we say, judge a company by its stats or anything. it's very difficult to choose a very good company out of a bunch of companies, which you know actually, and there are a lot of companies which you don't know as well. For example, um, as the main objective of this session is to clear the doubts of people, right? I will start telling how I approach them by answering the questions asked by our juniors. Okay. As mostly I see every one of them is pointing out to CGPA, right? Even in terms of placement also, they point out towards that. Actually, CGPA doesn't even matter when it comes to the interviews, and it depends on the type of round you are in actually. For example, in my company, I do see my seniors taking interviews. What they really care is if they don't good a really, if they don't hire a really good person, the consequences they end up helping them a lot, and hence not giving a lot of time to the future they're working in. So they focus purely on technical skills and his debugging skills. That's what they see. But in the first round, which they don't even know, the talent acquisition team actually filters out few resumes, and they schedule a call, and they actually assign a guy to take the interview. So actually, a developer who is taking the interview doesn't even know about the person until a call is scheduled with him to take an interview. So they actually don't care a lot about the CGPA while taking the interview. But the issue is you need to be shortlisted to be to attend the call, right, to give your interview. So that actually doesn't happen when you don't have a very good CGPA, because that is the only performance metric which talent acquisition team have right now. Currently, my company don't value CGPA a lot when you are referred by a very good developer in the company, because they believe he's a very good developer, and they actually consider his profile seriously, and uh, he's prioritized more to attend the call to answer the questions asked by the developer in the interview. That's how it happens. Recently, for example, I referred one of my batchmates named Yashwant Krishna, and he was prioritized, and he attended the call. So actually, his CGPA is 8.3 or something, and so that so basically, I think I covered the CGPA aspect. Uh, Having a very good CGPA or having a CGPA which is good enough, if you want to choose between both of them in an IT sector, then having a CGPA which is good enough is fine. Like, you need not worry if you don't have a very good CGPA. Like, if you consider all the seniors who are here, they have a good enough CGPA. Few of them have a very good CGPA, but people who have good enough CGPA also are able to make it, right? And that's one thing. And the juniors, like in the beginning, they get tensed a lot by looking at others. And when TNPSL is they share a list of companies to choose from, right? They actually value a lot to the CTC, in the sense, for example, um, the first advice I would give for them is don't try achieving many things at once. Okay, it's because even if you consider a computer a highly clocked CPU, it does only one task at once. Okay, so complete one task at once. So the first thing I want to say is, in the flow chart of moving towards a very good software engineer, you need to choose the field you want to be in. For example, there are many fields like game development, full stack, web development, AI. I have seen my friends, they try achieving many things at once. They want to be a very good ML engineer, they want to be a very good web developer. Our brain is, for example, human beings are in such a way where if you practice a lot, I heard that your neurons will be more active when you're practicing a lot. It's because you frequently keep accessing it, right? Like, you access memory from that. uh, that's why you need to practice a lot before attending any interview. And what else do we have? Okay, and regarding the companies you choose from, we have two opportunities, I guess. TNPSL gives two opportunities. So people think that if I end up choosing that company, one of my opportunity might be lost. Like that, you should not hurry, and you should not also wait for a longer time as well. For example, let's say when we have two opportunities, let's say a company one is offering a package of X and a company two is offering a package of Y. And after a certain time, as a student, you would realize what is the highest probable package you might get based on your skill set and based on the companies approaching the institute. When I actually faced that issue, what I did was actually Karthik Sharma is the one who suggested that, I guess, in the group he told you should have at least one opportunity in hand, and you can either choose to have it or leave it, but you should at least have it, right? So what happened was, I figured out X and Y based on my analysis and all. So what I thought was, let's start with X first. There is an opportunity for X, and I started with X. That is done, and after that, you don't end up with a lot of stress after completing one step actually. Okay, then later on you would be able to do the next step very easily. Um, that is what I suggest people when they have limited opportunities and do that. And coming to this recession, yeah, the issue is severe and people are firing a lot. But what I actually say is, MNCs and all, they actually start firing people when they don't need it to meet the revenue expectations and all. If you consider very good companies like Flipkart, Amazon, their e-commerce sector are running under losses. They don't run under profits, but they also start these sales and all, right? Like a big billion days. They do that to stay in the competition. Like if Flipkart does it, Amazon is supposed to do it as well. Whereas if you consider startups, they don't fire people because startups need people with very good skill set. So if they fire a guy, they might not get a guy with a very good skill set back again. Because when my seniors are taking interviews, even SSCs were unable to answer few basic questions. So it is trivial that you cannot get a guy with very good skill set that easily. So startups basically tend to hold you for longer period. They don't fire you like MNCs, and startups pay you a lot than MNCs in few scenarios. MNCs might show their pay like CTC. They use a term called CTC, right? They might say, for example, Atlassian says they are offering a package of 80 CTC, but in reality, what they offer is just 18 lakh base, like that. And startups, they don't give a very high value as CTC because they don't give stocks, right? Because their stocks are not valued really high in the beginning phase, but they pay you a lot for the work you do, and the work you're supposed to do is also a lot. So if you want to have a very good learning curve in your beginning stage itself, startup companies offer you a very good platform for that. That's what startup companies do. And I told that people try achieving many things at once, right? They try to learn many languages at once. C++, C. I want to know all the languages. That's what I did in the beginning. And after giving the interview for my company, I asked our co-founder. Our co-founder is the one who have taken the interview. He actually asked me how many languages do you know. Then I answered like 6 or 7. Then he told, okay, we are not using any of them. We use Golang for backend and we use C Sharp. Our company uses Unity game engine for developing games. So we use C Sharp in the client and Golang. So basically, languages and all, they are not the thing to go behind. And other thing I would like to say is listen more than you speak when you attend sessions like these. It is because I think Karthikeya Sheshadri sir is our HOD, right? When I was there, when I joined NITAP, uh, actually what he said was, don't run behind the buzzwords. And at that time, it did not seem much, but later on, I realized what he actually meant. Um, yeah. So if you run behind buzzwords and learn all these languages in the first place, rather than learning the core fundamental concepts, because when you're learning data structures and all, it's really difficult in the beginning. It's really difficult. It's really difficult to master them and be absolutely perfect at them. And even this is a thing where you need not be very good, but you should be good enough, because you don't use data structures a lot when you're developing a feature. Okay, sometimes when you're developing a feature, all you need is just a linear search. But in the beginning, let's say as product managers always come up with different requirements depending uh, on the on the current market. They come up with different features, and each feature have a different requirement. For example, few features might require only linear search. Few features, for example, in the beginning when I worked in Zoho, all the basic algorithms I used was just linear search and just iterating through an array. That's all we do. So there, having a very good idea about the tech stack is really important in terms of web development. But whereas when you're developing a game, the performance actually really matters a lot. You need to take care of accessing, because all the people right now, the for the gaming market, all the people interact with games through their mobiles only, right? Matlab, they play their games through mobile only. Uh, the majority market in India only. Whereas if you consider PC console gaming market, their requirements are actually different. They focus more on very good graphic quality. Like if you're focusing on that, you need a more RAM, right? But whereas if you consider a mobile, you have a limited memory resource. So the requirement is actually different. If you consider a guy who is working, who is developing a game in mobile, if you wanted to use the same skill set he gained in that particular company, and if he tries to use it in that company, who is focusing more towards who is focusing more on graphic quality and very good effects and all, it doesn't work that way, right? So in the beginning, when you actually pass out of your 10th standard, you believe, yeah, I made it, I should wait into a very good intermediate college like Narayana or Sri Chaitanya and all. I guess everyone here are familiar with those college names. And after that, you believe, yeah, I got into NIT or an IIT, it's done. But no, you have competition over there also. You need to compete with people a lot, and it's even difficult than competing. And when in the placement season, at a point, you believe that this is more difficult than IIT JEE exam itself. And after that, if you get into a company, uh, it is not competing, but when you are involved in a group discussion, based on the work you do, based on the type of insights you have on the feature, the way the product managers take your advice or take your insights into consideration, it actually depends on your work. Because when you have a friend, when you have a bunch of friends, as a student, you tend to clarify your doubts a lot, right? So you obviously ask a guy who is good at that. That's what happens in the company as well. So you should have a very good skill set in the feature you're working with, and every time, for every feature, you might not need a same skill set as well. And what else did I cover? Did I not cover actually? Hmm.
There's actually a lot that you have covered, like this every single spectrum that even the things that I could not even have thought of. This is things that you have covered, which I think that is one of the reasons which I always prefer you as one of my top go-to contacts whenever I have any doubts. So yeah,
And
thanks for this insight, Lalit Aditya. Like this is really helpful. Like there was one quotation that I did read. Like in education, it's about competition, but in corporate, it's about survival. So I'm not sure where exactly I read that. That is one thing which I have been going. And there was one quotation put up. So yeah, like you are currently in a startup, right? So
yeah,
we have another IT. We have another person, Raja Karthik, against Free CSE 2023, and your classmate itself, who is currently working in Big Basket, so an MNC. So now that we have looked at the startup ecosystem and their environment, so we'll just go with Raja Karthik to find out the corporate environment of how the MNCs operate and how the workflow there is. Hi, Karthik.
Hi, Richard. So, first of all, I would like to thank you so much because this session is a lot insightful to me also. All the inputs from Kara, Kaushik, and Rahul, because I am also planning to go to Masters next year. So, I feel that I was most benefited from this session. So, yeah, coming to my story, uh, in my case, I was very lucky with my peer group actually. So, we had a 3-4 member group among my friends. From third year, we started working on many things, and we did many freelance projects on various things and which had various technologies in them, like Java, Golang, web development, machine learning, many things. So in our group, each member had his own expertise and used to take care of projects as soon as they come. So we actually gained a lot of experience from that freelance projects, and even coming to the coding also in lead code, we used to do questions every week and share them the following week to among our group. So uh, I was very lucky that I found such a very nice friend circle in college. And coming to my job, I actually have done two internships. One is at OpenStream AI, which is an AI-based company. I interned there for 3 months, and then I interned at Big Basket for 6 months. So the OpenStream one was my very first corporate experience. So I had no other opportunities at that time, so I went ahead and joined there. There I worked as a full stack developer. But working for 3 months as a full stack developer, I felt that this is not my cup of tea. So I actually searched for jobs uh, which had my liking. Like I was more into backend stuff like maintaining and creating platforms for various companies and all. So one such job I came across was in Big Basket through LinkedIn. I applied it and got through, and yeah, now I'm working there full time. I'm a platform engineer there. I set up the infrastructure for Big Basket, so all the scalability and the robustness of the infrastructure is looked through by my team in the company. So as Lalit mentioned, since Big Basket is still in its initial stages, it's not yet a full grown company. It's just and in the same way, it is not still a small startup. It is somewhere in the middle. So my team has only 4 members, and a lot of work is on our team. So I work continuously for 14-15 hours a day. For in the past 1 month, especially work has gone even high. So I'm also learning a lot. I was planning to go to MS directly after BTech, but I thought I would go with some experience so that I could have an advantage after MS for finding a job there. So that's why I picked up this job, and hopefully I go get into a good MS college next year and go to US. That's it.
Thank you, Karthik, for your insights. I think Kaushik would be a great contact for you to maybe
Yeah.
connect with, as he also pursued the same corporate to MS path. And yeah, so with that, like we are actually done with entirety of the corporate section, but there is one person. Probably he is currently like for the alumni, you may not, some of you may know him. He's quite a very popular person in the entirety of the campus, and for juniors, second, third, or fourth, no matter, even in 2021 or 2022 batches, even they know him a lot. That's none other than Mahmood Jan Khan. The reason that I've invited him for specifically for this is the tips that he gives is something which you just see out of a TED talk. So the way that he this elevation is needed for him because especially the guidance that he gives or the tips that he gives in every single aspect, be it in career or be it in personal behavior or anything. So hi Mahmood.
Oh, what an introduction. Thank you. Thank you.
So, Mamur, if I give you the flow, I'm pretty sure you have enough suggestions for all of us to fill it up, and we'll go to the next morning. So, what we'll do is, here's the thing. For you, I'll make it a little more challenging. You have 3 sentences in 3 tips that you want to give for students. 3 tips that you wish that you known when you were in your bachelor's, when you were doing your bachelor's. 3 tips that you wish you would have known back then.
Yeah. Um, like before I begin with that, I'll take this opportunity to thank first of Ritvik, you and the team that you're working with. This session is extremely important, even though even if people don't realize this kind of sessions will like it's not just about being advised. It's about connecting to people that have graduated from our college and who would be more willing to help us. So thank you for that. Secondly, I would like to I'd like to reiterate the sentiment that we had in the beginning, that the chemical 2022 batch was really active. And um, to that, Rahul Bhaiya, Aditya Bhaiya, and Rivan Bhaiya, who is not here with us, all of these three people were very big influences on my life. And I thank them from the bottom of my heart. And I'm controlling myself, otherwise I'll go on for long. But yeah, so like these people were the best lookups for me. And similarly, this bonding that I have with them is what I would wish for all the juniors to have with their seniors. And this is how like the alumni chain goes in general. That is how people, I know this person and that person knows another person, and this is how they know about people. So thank you for that. Three tips that I would have known. um I was sort of prepared, but given that you've given me this challenge, I'll set myself up. The first thing is, to all the people who are currently pursuing, like you have qualified JEE and you are now in an NIT. This precedent itself is means that you are analytically good enough. Your logical thinking is really good. like uh, JEE is one of the hardest exams to crack in the entire world. So don't think that you don't deserve enough. Like any field that you want to get into, logically and analytically speaking, you are more than qualified. There are different parts of rounds and stuff that exists, but if you put your mind into it, you're definitely going to crack it for sure. That is that you can consider in as my point number one would also be like, be confident in yourself. Simply because like I find a lot of people who uh, even in even if you talk about right now, many people would be confused. And that confusion is because they don't they're sort of in the zone of like, am I good enough still? And to that, reinforce that you are good enough. It's just the matter of figuring out what you want. And I remember I visited an event in IIM Ahmedabad once, from my intern, sorry, no, intermediate, when I was in 10th standard. Um, there was a speaker there, and he explained how a person would feel after you get out of 12th standard. Like he walked down and up the stage talking about how he is looking at opportunities all over the entire stage. you know uh, it, and to us, what it would mean is, after 12th and after giving JE, we have many different fields to choose from. And unfortunately for us, we don't have a demo phase, where you want to try out and understand if this is actually for you. But given call after you choose a subset, that is, let's say, a branch, you understand that whether it's for you or not, because simply because you didn't have the demo for it. So after you have that subset, you want to experiment and understand where to go, basically. So to that, the environment in a college is that of experimentation, and is that of mistakes and learning. So my second point would be for people to experiment and do mistakes. And this general advice, that people who are successful and who are people who are failures, and their stories not being talked about. It's basically for you to understand that they experimented and they failed, and they learned, and now they are implementing the knowledge in a better way. So like given the environment that you have in a college, even if you fail, let's say for let's say you went on for an entire month trying something that you didn't at the end you didn't feel like doing it gives you the insight that anything that is sort of related to this one thing is not for you. So you effectively eliminated options, and not finding the correct option is all finding a correct option is the best ideal scenario, but then eliminating like bad options also is also good for you, like simply because you are experimenting and you know that you have experimented this, and now if you like, you will not have the regret that okay, I would have been in a different position if I didn't try this. And third thing that I would very much suggest NIT AP and the students there to do is to improve in networking. And networking would be more specific. I would why I say networking is because my intention is to say build a good personality. But I say networking is because like it gives you the precedent that you need to talk to people, and that thing in it's like in a nutshell is like one of the biggest factors that will determine where you land in the future. Like the more you talk to people, the more you understand, and the more uh, let me rephrase. We as a human have like a lifespan of, let's say, 70 years. And how is it that we can live longer? It's by sharing and sharing and understanding the experiences of others. Like you might get yourself into a certain situation where some other person has already been there, and their experience would help you understand and get out of that situation, or understand the situation better for you. So like you're technically living longer than people, like than 70 years basically. That's what I mean. So like the impact of having like a personality that like lets you connect with people, and lets others connect you too as well. Like it's how in compounding effect, like as in like a small increment will further increment, that increment will help you further in the in improving yourself. So those are the 3 points that I want to discuss. And like um, one last thing would be, since I am from computer science background, um like there is sort of a lot of people, like they talk about how they're programming, and how they want to improve that and all, mostly there will be a lot of where did my mouse go? Yeah, just a second. Yeah, got it. So like a lot of people talk about how there are what skills should they learn, what skills should they have while improve going into the IT field or something like that. Since I'm from computer science background, and this is something that I like to the people who are interested in that field. This is a channel that I have been following for a while, and this I guess I'll post this as a question so that everyone can see, not as a poll. So what these channels will help you, what this channel will help you in, is talk about like the social aspect of programming. And very recently I saw a video on how 32 engineers manage 50 billion messages on WhatsApp. And that scale is unprecedented. 50 billion messages is a lot. Like I'm not going to go into scale, but the spin of like the social part of programming, and how they approach the problem, and how the president of the as in not from the side of which algorithm should I use, from the side of how that algorithm has helped, is what you can see in this channel. This person is a Netflix engineer, and he talks a lot about a lot of different stuff, and I find their stuff pretty cool. And that is why I like that. That's one thing that I would like to share with everyone. And like yeah, that's about what I would like to discuss. Just believe in yourself mostly. I know that a lot of people have imposter syndrome, so for clearing up that.
Uh, Thanks a lot for your input, Mamar. And now, similarly, the same question I just want to ask for everyone present here before we close off. The first, we will go in the reverse order as we have proceeded. So the next one would be Aditya Bharadwaj. What are three things that you feel that like three tips that you feel that you would have that it would be beneficial for you if you had known when you were in college.
uh, I'll just okay. Let me just tell you what has helped me to reach here, where I am currently. So first thing first is the technical knowledge. No, the first thing is the tag. Luckily, all of you have it. So I have seen this clear differentiation where NIT, non-NIT, 10 lakh rupees and 25 lakh rupees. So so that you have it, choose that. Okay, that you have chosen, that's very good. Second is the, like a lot of people talked about here is regarding CGPA, whether or not it's required and all. Coming to a corporate job where all three companies I have worked for, yes, it is absolutely required. It's the base criteria. If you are less than, say, for a government company, they won't mind that much because they have the gate score, but still there is some around 7.5, I remember, if correct. And for a very private company like Procter and Gamble, they have very strict rule of who they hire exactly, because the job is very high. It's a high paying job. So all of the engineers which they hire directly from either very top IITs or very top IIMs or ISB. If you are not from them, say I am the case, I am not either. I'm not from IIT, I do not have MBA. And then they require very high CGPA, and then they require your work skills. So all of this will add up. So work on your CGPA. That's a non-negotiable, I believe. If you are not going to work on your CGPA, you have to compensate for it then, either by doing your MBA or any masters from college who doesn't require. Then you have to give money over there, or then you have to build your skills. Like I know some of my juniors, they were not scoring much, but they had very high like very prime skills. And third is the internship. Yes, so internship is like the base where it kind of sets your tone, where are you going to be in the future. So I did my internships from two internships from ISC Bangalore, and that helped me to get into Vedanta. Getting into Vedanta helped me to get into sale, to crack the interview, and coming from a government company helped me to get into PNG. So it's all kind of linked. People who are looking for a job straight out of college, don't be picky. Just take something. Uh, Slowly build your resume. It's okay to suffer for a few years, I believe. It's fine. So slowly you have to build it, and then yeah, go ahead, and then someday, it doesn't take much time actually. It's my just 4 years of job here, and then I am at a good place, I believe. So yeah, continue. If you have a good resume, then of course just ping me on LinkedIn. I can refer you. It's a very good program over here. You will really like the job. The culture is good. That's it. But building blocks: CGPA, internships, and technical skills. That's all.
Thank you, Aditya, and thank you for also going ahead with the by giving provision to juniors for the reference. So I'll definitely add your contact for them. So if whoever may contact you if they feel like. So the same question for Kaushik again. So Kaushik, the question is very simple. Three tips you wish you had known if you were in BTech back.
Yeah. So I don't want to talk about the technical stuff. All of them must have already been mentioned by the other panel members. Um, so the first tip that like I would have inculcated in myself would be the three C's: confidence, clarity, and communication. The first tip. So I would want to communicate more effectively with clarity of what I'm speaking and with confidence in my voice. So I would focus more on this, on these three C's. And the second thing would be participating in more clubs. I did participate in more clubs, like I don't know how you guys have seen me dancing in Volcanzi or not, but yeah. So I danced in every technical, every fest that was possible. Like thankfully there were friends that pushed me to dance. So and there were many clubs that I was involved into, like association, and EC Herald. There was EC Herald. So and I wish I had done much more, because in that way I would have connected with more people and I would have expanded my friend network even. So yeah, the second thing would be involving in more clubs, and the third thing would be maintaining my physical and mental health. Um so this aspect is very underrated. Nobody actually talks about this, but everybody I know will go through this. uh, Physical health is very important. Otherwise you'll become passive, that you can do it, but mental health has to be practiced. You have to get there. You cannot get there in a single step. You have to go through the process eventually. Like you have to do the things that you love, and you have to work towards it. So for all the people who are in undergrad, I would suggest that don't rush and everything will go well. So be positive. And yeah, these are the three things that I would inculcate more, and the same thing that I would suggest to my juniors also.
Thank you, Kaushik. Positivity and tranquility for our future. That is exactly the idea which will lead us ahead. So, Lalitaditya, the three things, again, the same question, three things that you wish you would have known if you were in BTech. You're actually muted.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yes, yes.
I believe better exposure to the world. I believe I should have known it much earlier, because I have come to know. I came to know about it when I interacted with my seniors only, and some of them are actually here. It's let me say his name. Where is he? Rahul Nandakumar is one of them. So in the beginning, for example, Kara had said a few things which I actually don't know, or if I try knowing them by myself by googling them a lot, the time taken would be much more, and it might not be as simple as she actually said it, right? Matlab, the way I came to know about the opportunities or what the scholarship she said actually. So in the beginning, I was like, I want to be a techie. I want to focus more clearly in my work, and I don't want to be jack of all and master of none. I want to be master of none. But the thing is, as people say, you should have a balanced diet. You should have a balanced approach to anything. In the beginning, I did not have it, but I believe I realized not too early, but early enough to recover. That is in my second year when I actually spoke to my seniors. And the other thing which I said to myself after completing each and every phase is, don't worry much about anything you're going through, because you just can't make a good decision when you're very stressful or worrying much. When it is done, you realize that it is done, and you actually start thinking the mistakes you made, and you realize, Arey yaar, I should not have done it. This might not be required. So don't worry too much. Even if I say this, people will worry too much, because uh, they need someone to talk to when they're going through that phase. That's the second thing. Do not worry much. And the third thing is, a guy. Matlab, I used to compare myself with others and realize that he might be good in his life than me because he was too good at something, or I used to compare me to that guy or her. Um, Let me just put this very straight. We have let's say one of my friends um, is not actually the topper of the institute, uh, but she's the one who is offered the highest package. The approaches and the decision she made. um Let me say one thing. For example, she she knows that CGPA is not the most important thing in life. Okay, but she need a very good CGPA. So what she used to do is, the kind of decision she took. For example, oh, we have open elective, right? Open elective. People say, I want to choose a subject. I'm a CSE guy. I want to choose a CSE subject only because that's a I want to improve my skill set. But actually, if you ask, uh, the decision she took was she saw something biotechnology related or something, and there the people who because it is because of the intel she had. CGPA is relative grading. We follow relative grading, right? What she came to know is all the people who are who chose that particular elective are not that interested in it. So even though if you get 30 out of 50, you would get an EX grade. So when you want to improve your CGPA, and if you want to improve your skill set, and if you want to be placed in a very good company, that would be a very shitty decision in the beginning to do. But she actually did that, and she got excellent grade in that subject, and her CGPA improved a lot, and she actually did that for 2 semesters, and she got what she wanted, a very good CGPA. And in the placement time, people, most of the people realize that I want to be very good at coding, and I should start coding from the first year itself. And if you start coding from the first year itself, and if you don't code for at least 2 months, uh, I believe it is you're definitely not going to be as good as the guy who started coding in the fourth year and is coding continuously for 6 months. So basically, your 3 years of effort is absolutely wasted by the guy who coded only for 6 months. So that one, that I realized after my 3 years of BTech.
Definitely, the one about your friend is something which many of the students will now use as a cheat code from next year. And maybe the dynamic will completely shift around. Maybe biotech will be the most demand open elective, I guess.
No, yeah, she chose that particular elective because I told you, right? It is because of the
Yes.
intel she gathered, and which is only possible if you have proper network.
That's a level of
Uh,
smartness we cannot comprehend. I cannot just comprehend from my side. So that is extremely insightful. So the next person would be Kara. Kara, three suggestions, three tips from your side you wish you had known when you were in BTech.
Yeah, so let me start with this. I had one small regret. Like for instance, if you take C++ coding language, just imagine there's one starting point. So I had the love for coding, and for example, the outcome. So if a particular challenge is given to me, all that I would do is I would always focus on the outcome. So I would do everything to get that particular output from it to make sure that it works for all use case scenarios. But rather, I didn't enjoy the process which is in between. I was more target oriented, goal oriented. In between, I forgot to enjoy what it looks like. So after coming to my corporate job where I'm working right now, so here my main coding language is Python. So of course, logical thinking is very much required, but there are other certain aspects of it. Like for example, you have to have proper coding guidelines so that you can make sure that someone else who reads your code will get to understand it easily, and you can port your code easily reusable, repeatable, and all that different kind of things. So when I just backtrack towards my bachelor's, all that I did was I was more focused on getting things done. But rather, maybe I could have learned more about coding guidelines, more about the time complexities. Of course, getting things done in lesser time complexity is very much important when you go to a corporate sector. So those are little things which I felt maybe I could have done things a little better. But yeah, I've learned things in my own way. Out of mistakes, I have improved myself. So yeah, that's absolutely fine. But yeah, that's one small regret. And the other thing is, like, since we didn't have seniors in since we were the first batch of NIT AP, I like I think only in my final year I built GitHub portfolio, but otherwise I think before that I didn't have GitHub repository or LinkedIn or even website portfolios. But at this point, I don't have time to develop other skills. It's because I'm just more focused on getting my job and other things done. But maybe at that point of time, if someone would have told me to have a good portfolio, like for example, if you take a machine learning algorithm, or if whatever subject of interest you have, if you like something about it, just pick it up, do some research, and then try out something which is already existing, post it in GitHub, post it in LinkedIn. This will actually help you to widen your networking and also the ability to understand things better. So that's the second aspect. And the third one is I'm actually too much of an introvert. I'm sure many of you might be in that case. Like 4 years before, if I see myself, I'm not who I was before. Like I've changed quite a lot in these 4 years. I never participated in any of the cultural activities, nothing, nothing. So it was just all about studies, studies, studies. And I'm also a person who was more focused on getting CGPA, getting good scores in college, and getting into the top position. But I was not the topper. Like there were many other people who were doing very well. So I used to feel like maybe I'm not enough. I'm not good enough. I'm not, I cannot be successful in my career. And zillion different thoughts I had in my life. But if I look back, I'm happy for the journey that I have come. So it will all be amazing. So you don't have to worry about anything. If at all, if you feel like I'm a successful person at this point of time, let me just give you a short backstory. Like when I started at NIT before getting into NIT, I was going to a local colleges back home in Chennai. I didn't get NIT in the first counseling. Only in the special round of counseling, I got into NIT, and I didn't get a branch of my preference. I got into a different branch. But since I had the likeness towards coding and algorithms, I continuously pursued and I did put a lot of hard work. And in second year, I was able to get my branch changed. So in case if the person who is sitting right beside you, if they are ahead of you in their journey, it's totally fine. It's their day today, but tomorrow might be your day. So don't worry about anything. And even if you don't have any skill sets, it's totally fine. Just do your best in every little thing. And I know most of you might not enjoy studying. Even I was that case like few years before. Like, just for the sake of studying, I study. Just for the sake of being successful, I was doing things. But we can't keep going like that in life. You have to have something passionate. Like if you look yourself at the age of 40 or 50, you cannot just keep earning and earning and earning. You have to do things which actually gives you interest and passion. So adopt something which you love. If you take something, just do it with full passion, as Kartikeya Sharma sir mentioned. If something is handed over to you, ask the question why, how it came from, and try to do a lot of research on it, background work. You have all different kind of materials right now, so you can do whatever you want. And also this one another thing, like I think most of you might be on Instagram. Even I was on Instagram. I have this habit of scrolling since I'm all alone here. I have this habit of scrolling and scrolling too much in my loneliness. I had this habit. But after a point of time, I realized that this is going to take me nowhere. And later on, I installed different kind of Slack communities. I joined Slack communities, different groups, and I try to keep myself updated because that's what helps me to keep going in my career. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And one more thing which I would like to mention here is, if you wanted to get your branch, I mean not branch, career change from one prospects to other, it's totally fine. It's totally up to you. Don't feel like you can't get into a different career. Like one of my colleague who's working with me in the current company, he did his bachelor's in political science. You won't believe it, he did his bachelor's in political science and only 1 year of master's in computer science, and now he is working as a machine learning engineer. He really does well. He is excellent in what he does it with utmost perfection. So whatever is given to you, give your best. So yeah, that's it. Thank you.
And thanks, Kara. That's actually quite insightful, and just especially to know that you still have an option every single time that you go that you can shift. So it's really great regarding that. So next we have Rahul. Rahul, if you can share 3 tips that you wish you had known when you were at college.
So yeah, that was great hearing everybody talk about their experiences. So I think the things that I would have hope to know was, the first thing is probably networking. It really goes a long way to get contacts and to learn to about their experiences and what they're expecting from prospective students in for their companies or something. So an interesting story happened just yesterday. So I was talking to a recruiter at a career fair, and we were having a good conversation, and he was talking about what kind of qualities is expecting in a prospective student and all that, and the conversation went well. The career fair was over, and then I came to the bus stop,
and I noticed that he was boarding the same bus as me. So, and then we were literally like neighbors, like we live next to each other now. And so the thing that you have to learn from this is that even if you don't expect to get a result out of something, you just have to do it, right? So if I hadn't talked to the recruiter, I wouldn't have known that he is living next to me, and I wouldn't have had a personal connection with him. But since now I have a personal connection with him, I can probably call him up sometime and ask for advice or ask for a referral or something like that. So in that sense, networking is like really important. In addition to that, I think you need to have a good conviction of what you want to do actually. So you can't say that I'm going to apply for jobs and I'm going to also apply for masters at the same time. You can do that. It's good to have backup options, but you can't travel on both these roads at the same time, right? You need to focus on one thing and have a backup plan for that. So I think having backup plans is really important. The last thing is this thing, everybody has this. It's an imposter syndrome. So when I was waiting for my application decisions and all that, so I applied to this really top university. It's called Georgia Tech. I knew I would be rejected because of my CGPA. They only look for CGPA above 9, so I knew I would be rejected. But I still applied for it, and the bad thing was the decision of the rejection came on the last day of Volcansy. So I could not enjoy Valkansi, the final moments of Valkansi, like the dance and all that. So I wasn't able to fully enjoy it, but after that I really got out of it because I know that I'm better than what. So I just think that it's not going to happen for me. Something better is waiting for me, so I'm just going to go there. By then, I already knew that I'm going to get into UT Austin, and UT Austin is still a good university, no matter what. So yeah, I think having that imposter syndrome is there for everybody, but what you have to do is get out of it. So yeah, I think these are my 3 advices.
Thank you, Rahul, for this advice, and I'm really sorry to hear that especially on Valkansi last day, that's the only day which actually you can free up your zone. And
Yeah, that's true. That's
so,
true.
So anyways, everything is good now that now you are in UT Austin and everything went well. So now next we have Vishnu. Vishnu, if you could share 3 tips from your side that you would wish you had known when you were in BTech.
I think time management is one of the best thing we had to have. Means whether it is a job or education, we will have always pressure will be there. If we don't know how to manage our time, then it will be like a huge stress for us. When we know our boundaries and some personal time should be there, then it will help us in achieving our goals or whatever it may be. It also helps us in personal growth where we don't take much stress, and it helps to handle any difficult situations that we may face in the future. And one more thing that I would like to have is the seeking help from peers or anyone who is better at that point. Means I, I think we don't know everything, and we should be taking some help from our friends or some others, which may help in seeking learning things very fast. If we, yes, other, I think Lalit mentioned this. This should be, if we learn on our own, then it will take very much time. And if we take some help from some other, then it would be, we will be learning that very fast. This will also helps us to put that time in other activities, and it helps us in personal growth also. Yeah, I think these are the tips.
Thank you, Vishnu, for your insights. So now we're again back to Aditya Virkar, L&D initiator, as everyone knows you here. So again, the same question: 3 tips from your side you wish you had known when you were in BTech.
So when I first came to Ireland, one of the first things that happened was the essential need of to know how to not to be punctual. We have 9 a.m. classes over here. You have to go up from a hill, and dot 9 a.m. the door is closed right on your face. You are in or you're out. It The professors don't care if there's one person out of 90 in the class. If there's two people, if you are in, you're in. You're out, you're out. So that is one of the things that I'd essentially highlight is be punctual and to be open to grind. While I was in my undergraduate years, I was a part of a lot of clubs, a lot of associations, the Chemical Engineering Association, the editorial board of the Chemical Engineering magazine that we had, the secretary of Literary Debate Club. I was part of the media PR lead for Graphics Cafe, and apart from this, I also did freelancing wherein I taught students from UK and the US. So apart from this, we did ACAD. So there's a whole lot of things, and time management is pretty essential. I still do teach now. I am part of the marketing society here. I'm a part of the I5. We have three festivals here, and I'm part of all of them. So networking, socializing, and all of that is pretty much essential. My second tip here would be to focus on your CV and to participate again. So again, here at I'm Indore, we have a very strenuous resume authentication process. Every point on your resume is verified. You have to get approvals from your faculty members, or if you're part of the club, that okay, I did this. You have to get it ratified from your managers at work. Even an is cannot be changed to an at. It has to be verbatim from what your manager has said to you. So that is the level of dedication that companies here demand for. It is also uh, essential that you take up positions in clubs because it bolsters your CV over here. It gives you something to talk about in interviews, and work on your soft skills would be my third tip. Would be general knowledge because at interviews of IIM, IIM COICOR interview, I remember the first thing I was asked was how many districts does Kerala have, because IIM COICOR is in Kerala, and it is not a question that you usually prepare for, but that is what the interviewers expect you to know out of the blue everything, and be on the spot, be very creative. So one of my GD topics I remember when I was applying for Jubilant Food Works where I interned last summer, this summer, it was red versus black. Red versus black is such a random topic, and you need to know a lot of things. You need to actually interact with people, know what it actually belongs to, right? So apart from this, I also saw a question that was dedicated to cat preparation, as in there are only 75 days left and how to do it. So one, I would say do mocks. There's no substitute to mocks, and like when I was preparing, I used to give like one mock every day, and not just giving mocks, but after that, a strenuous again check of where you went wrong and how you can do better is uh, is very essentially needed. It's more essential than the prep that you have already put in through. The second would be use resources. Now you have a lot of resources in your hand, YouTube, and you can solve simultaneously with people because DILR and VRC. If you solve with someone else solving with you, it's very easier. And forming study groups is very essential. And as an MBA, I do I do learn marketing, and there's one feature how you can market products is called product placement, wherein just you put in the product or the service in some movie or in some area of situation where it is going to attract the target audience, and it would be no use of my education if I don't do it over here. So today I am going to take a session at 5 o'clock hosted by Literary and Debate Club again on how you can crack cat and what to expect and what are the various different point of views that you know NIT and IIM give and the different aspects. So that's it from my end.
Thanks, Aditya. Definitely, the viewers would also be. I've already seen multiple circulations of the same, and I'm pretty sure that the viewers will be joining there as well. So with this, we would like to conclude the session by a word of thanks by Dr. Prabhavati, ma'am. If you can, ma'am, if you can just take initiation.
Hi, everyone. I'm really happy to see most of my students are here. Uh, it's like Kaushik, Mamur, and I don't actually remember a few faces. But the thing is, I'm not sure. Okay, but it was a lovely, wonderful session, and your inputs were really uh, very much valuable because now I'm no more taking economics class. Don't worry about that. So now I'm taking some placement sessions here where actually we thought and all the efforts taken by Ritvik, all credit goes to him and also you too because it's all you people who have made your time in spite of your different timings and you're here today for 2 hours or more than that and thank you so much thank you all for your inputs on the going to the higher education as well as your inputs for being in the companies. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. I still remember the day you got snacks for us to demonstrate marketing, and we were overjoyed to take those snacks and stuff. And it was really fun learning with you, and you are one of the best teachers that I have had. Thank you so much for this wonderful session, too. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Kaushik. Thank you so much. I believe you're in Arizona State University now. I believe
Yes,
it's,
yes.
and also I want to just tell you this is now the recent ranking of Arizona is THE Impact ranking 6. It stands 6, I believe.
Yeah.
It's the recent rankings. It stands 6 and the top, very top university, and others are also in very good university. Very happy to see you all. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you, ma'am, for your insights and inputs. So if everyone could just turn on their webcams, we'll just be taking some snaps before we conclude this meeting. And before that, we would just like to say thank you for all the viewers who are watching this, and we're really hopeful that we really hope that it was beneficial for you. And there would definitely be a feedback form that will be circulated again via mail, so you can let us know what more you want from what more we can do from our side for improvement of your career. And of course, another thing where Aditya Virkar was mentioning about resume building and IIM resume checkup, I think that would be a very good place to start, as we are actually having a resume building workshop to be held next week at the same time. So we're keeping the time pretty consistent, so it'll be easy for the alumni to join in. And it'll be the same time, say exactly next week, September 23rd. It would be great to see you there if you can just join in and drop in some inputs there as well. So yeah, with that, the streaming would be stopped right now. So thank you, viewers, for joining.